like to call to order the November 25th, 2025 Quincy Borough Council meeting. Could I have a roll call, please?
Councilperson Hoffman?
Here.
Councilperson Stahl?
Here.
Councilperson Fisher?
Here.
Councilperson Kesey? Here. Council President Zink?
Here.
Councilperson Murphy?
Here.
Councilperson Bernard?
Here.
Mayor Les? Thank you.
All right. Did anyone care to offer an invocation? If you'd like, please rise for a moment of silence. Councilperson Bernard, please lead us in a pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And the next will be Barb, and then Peter, their last three.
Yeah.
All right, announcement of executive session, there were none. Are there any additions, deletions, or reorganization of the agenda? I'm not aware of anything. All right, could I have a motion to approve the agenda as published?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Councilperson Murphy, second by Councilperson Kesey, or Stahl, I'm sorry. Motion by Councilperson Stahl, second by Councilperson Kesey, to approve the agenda as published. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Citizen comment on agenda items only. The first sign up is Sharon Littner.
Good evening. When I left the budget meeting, I still had a question as to how much was actually in reserves. So I reached out to the borough manager and the borough finance manager, and I did get a response from borough manager Brummer, but not an actual amount. So I'm just still asking, if we're pulling from reserves to balance the budget, could we include that in the budget packet, how much is in reserve, so we have some idea? I mean, how, if we can't get an answer on how much is in reserves, how can you pull from that if you don't know? Just asking.
Yeah, we'll have to get back to you on that one.
I thought it was 24.
But how
Yeah,
can you say you're pulling from reserves to balance a budget if you don't have an amount that's in reserves? How do you know that you can cover the amount you're pulling? I mean, it'd be like writing a check and not knowing how much is in your account. Can you cover that check?
We know approximately, we don't have the exact figure.
But then why couldn't even the approximate amount be put out there so that we have something to compare it to? It's taxpayer dollars there. The reserves is our money.
That's not normally one of the things on our, on the budget worksheet, so.
But if you're using that money to balance a budget, wouldn't you think it should be there? I'm just asking because it seems odd to me that it wouldn't be. Okay, well, that's my only question. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, is there anyone that wanted to speak that did not get a chance to sign up? Yes, Frank.
Evening, folks.
Good evening.
Evening, folks. I think anybody that comes before council always has respect for anybody sitting at that table. It includes me, and I never, every now and then you'll see that, but really, I just want to point that out, that whatever I bring out, I always like it that I have respect for it. I know that you are in charge. I didn't make the last finance meeting, but I was laying home in bed, and guess what? No streaming. So, and I appreciate if you don't answer me, because I don't want you taking my 5 minutes. If you want to write it down, any one of you want to answer me, you can, but do it on your time. During the budget, different times, some things come up, and I hate to say anything, the mayor ain't here, but people complain, I need to know more. I want to know what's going on. Where's the money going? Well, I've been going close to 4 years that it's been there, didn't make every meeting. I have yet to see an official at that meeting. Where else do you want to get information? Here's a mayor that's been here over 20-some years, been the mayor, and don't know where they're having the meeting at? By the way, to change,
What meeting?
I'm talking about the CAT meeting,
Oh,
TNR meeting. And again, don't take my time. The other, and I just don't see a mayor. Now, I did see Paula there at a couple of meetings. I will say that now. I know she's not an agent, but she's been there. I know you all get on the internet. Did you see the latest I Spy agenda on there that they had on about where some of the money went, a lot of the issues that went on? I would hope that you would look that up and find out where it's all at. At one of the previous meetings, another issue, at one of the previous meetings, and I'll mention her name, Paula called you out on an issue, and she told you that was not right, and that's what needs to be done. When Norm Meisky was here, he did that every time, not to be smart, and I don't think Paula was smart, because if this comes back on the borough, we're the people that pay these lawyers' fees. The last borough manager we had prior to you, Jack, I didn't have his name, but who was it?
Steve Caulfield.
Yeah. During the budgets meetings, when there was things comes up, such as the fire company, he kept telling you people, we're broke, we have no money. I heard it more than once, but nobody's listening. Council, you're just sitting on your hands, but he stressed that. Now, of course, he's gone. One of the areas with the budget, not one council person or the mayor talk about a wage freeze. Isn't that one of the first places you go if you're in debt that much?
we actually did discuss it at the last budget meeting.
Well, I wasn't at the last budget meeting, and I didn't know that. And in the one prior meeting, I remember I had asked about I think it was either 850 or 950,000 that was going to be probably the end of the deal in the budget. And you, Heather, you told me, no, we're not done with the budget. You didn't tell me we were going over $1 million. And now, if you get a chance, try and tell me how, hold on, my time. You get a chance, tell me, tell the people how you went from 950 to over $1 million. What is it, $1.2 million now, I believe it is? I can't imagine that. One of the issues that we had the past couple of years, why did we have such a turnover? How many finance managers did we have? How many borough managers did we have? Assistant managers. Why so much turnover? Don't you people know how to hire anybody? And Jack, to be honest with you,
5 minutes is up.
right, Peter? Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
I would ask for time, but I know you told me not to.
All right, is there anyone else that wanted to speak that did not get a chance to sign up? All right, first item, we have a presentation by Rick Fisher presenting on the Market House Dungeon Restoration Project.
All right.
Good evening, Council. I'm Rick Fisher. I've been working on the dungeons for probably a little bit over a year now, trying to restore them. Just about getting there. The biggest problem is with the flooring. I'd like to get some floors put in there. I did get 3 estimates over the weekend. One of the estimates was $13,000. Another estimate was $13,000, and another one was between $13,000 and $14,000. I did an AI on one of the cells just to give you an idea of what the floor would look like in there. So if you can go to the next slide, please. There's the empty cell. Next slide. That's what it would look like. That's the goal I'm trying to achieve here with the floor in there, get an old bunk in there and a bench and stuff. The one estimate was with 2x8 oak planks, which I'd like to go with. It would be that color. Next slide. Or it could go the other way, a darker tone wood. Next slide. And you can see the solitary confinement with the wooden floor in it. Next slide. It would look like that. Next slide. This is the very first cell. And you can see that's the one that has the most dirt on the floor. Next slide. It would look like that with flooring put in. Next slide. The same thing, a little darker tone. So right now we have a little over $2,300 at the Historical Society, which goes to the flooring. So one gave me an estimate for each cell would be $1,960 per cell. So we do have enough to do one cell. I think if we get one cell done and people see what it looks like, I think they'd be more inclined to donate a little bit more money, to see the rest of them done. Next slide. That's the red oak. That was from one of the estimates. It's a mixture of red oak. It's tongue and groove, which I prefer not to use that. The oak I'd like to use, but not tongue and groove. Next slide. Some of the artifacts I found down there when cleaning was this shutter here. You see the hinges are pretty wore off, busted off here. Next slide. And it goes to the very first cell, the window. They threw people. So I like to get the hinges restored and then that replaced. Next slide. And there's the window there again. Next slide. And I found these 2 pieces of wood. I couldn't figure out what they went to. They were actually parts of the shutter to the other smaller cell windows. Next slide. You can see me holding it up. It matched, it lined up perfectly. You can't see the hinges on the window, the cell windows, because they plastered cells up. But that's the only thing that lasts of the original shutters. So I kept this as artifacts. Next slide. And here's 2 pieces of the original flooring. You can see the one's charred. That came from a fire that people set themselves on down there. So I almost threw those out because I didn't know what it went to, but I thought I'd better hang on to them anyway. So it's actually pieces of history. You can see the flooring here. It's 2x4s. 67, the workers come out and tore all the floors out, which left them all. Next slide. Some old nails. Next slide. Next slide. And I put all those artifacts in a display case to keep them safe. It's locked where nobody can take anything, but they're the only artifacts left from the original dungeon cells. So. Next slide. And I'm still adding more information, literature. Like again, the idea is to turn it into a self-guided tour where you can walk down and read all the newspaper accounts. There's quite a bit of history down there. I think these stories need to be told. The dungeons need to be preserved. They're 188 years old. Next slide. Which comes to my next vision here, fundraiser. Some of you may recall Jail Bail. That was in Lancaster in the 80s and early 90s. And what the Jail Bail was, it was the American Heart Association. It was a fundraiser. As for fun, you would arrest somebody. You'd fill out a warrant for their arrest, and an off-duty police officer would go and arrest them, and they'd put them in a cell. It was actually just a small cage, and they put it in Penn Square where everybody could go by and donate money. One release till they got $500. It's going to be hard to get $500 here, but we have better than a cage. We have 6 dungeon cells down there that we could arrest 6 people and put them in there for an hour. It's all voluntary. My wife can say, my husband, he didn't turn the lights off last night. It has to be something quirky. So he would be arrested, and while he's in a cell, he'd be making phone calls to his friends, relatives. I need $100 to get out of jail. Once the 100's paid, even if it's not paid up in an hour, he's out in an hour. And if we ended up with $70, we ended up with $70. But if we do that in 6 cells and we do it twice in one day, that's a possible $1,200 there, and do that each month. We're going to alternate between that. Month the money would go to the dungeon restoration. The next month it would go to the Columbia 300th. So it's just an idea I come up with as a fundraiser. I do think it would work. As a joke, I told Bonnie she was going to be the first one arrested, and she says, "What if I have to use the bathroom?" I said, "There's buckets down there." So, and there are, but we're not going to make anybody use the buckets. But the idea would be just to close the door, let them sit in there. They can choose to have the light on, the light off, and just make phone calls to try to get their release. So, the one year, the next slide. The one year they raised over $40,000 just doing that. But again, that was $500 a person. It was in a crowded, really crowded, downtown area where people could give $1, $2, things like that. So I don't think we'd start out that high, but with your permission, I see it as a good opportunity to raise some funds for the dungeon and Columbia 300. That's all I have. Thank you.
So,
Be there a while.
speaking of this, the dungeons are the borough's property.
Yes.
And I know Rick has come before us and asked for permission to do this, work on it. But I have an issue. He collects money for tours and stuff. He does our donations. He doesn't get paid. It's donations. And I believe Bonnie has some of that money. I'm not 100% sure. Chips has some of the money that they made in the past from the donations from the lecture series. And my thought is we should have a line item in the not the budget, but the capital fund for repairs to the market house, and maybe make it temporary for the dungeons so that he has a place to put the money. The second thing is we have a property down on Walnut Street, the river. We should have a line item in there that should be for repairs as well, and we should be putting money in there on an annual basis. Not that I know we can't do it this year, but just make a suggestion for down the road.
Well, we do have the maintenance and repairs
But that's
of
not,
that building. But
that's-
it's not in capital because when there's a project, a capital, that's when it goes in.
we should be budgeting for repair, future repairs. To get caught off guard. I'm not saying,
Oh, no, I get it.
so that's what I'm saying. We should start looking ahead of stuff. Even this property here, there should be a capital repairs line for this property.
What's the Walnut Street address?
54 or 45? 41.
It's 41.
Closest.
Okay.
Yes.
Just a thought I had looking over things. We need to be proactive and start looking at our budget as a future instead of just next year. So that's all I had.
Okay.
Thank you, Rick.
Thanks, Rick. All right. Minutes for approval. I have a motion to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for November 13th, 2025.
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Geezy, second by Councilperson Kaufman. to approve the Borough Council meeting minutes for November 15th, 2025. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Presentation and acceptance of reports. I'd like to acknowledge the receipt of the finance reports for October 2025. Any questions? No. All right. Safety and marketing, Councilperson Bernard.
Thank you, President Singh. I'd like to acknowledge receipt of public safety reports for Columbia Borough Police Department for October 2025. Columbia Borough Fire Department reports for September and October 2025. Columbia EMOC report for October 2025. The EMS report for October 2025. And acknowledge receipt of the Codes Compliance Report and Condemnation Report for October 2025. I would like to take a moment and congratulate Lieutenant Arndt. She graduated this past Friday from the Northwestern University Police Academy School, taking courses on command and infrastructure, and budgeting, and a plethora of other qualifications to get her ready for her new position here as lieutenant. She's gonna kill it. She's gonna be awesome. She graduated with a 99.27 GPA. So 10-week course. Congratulations. That's all I have.
Community development.
I'd like to acknowledge the receipt of the zoning and planning report for October 2025.
And personnel, Councilperson Fisher, I'm sorry, I didn't put your name on there.
Oh, okay, that's okay. I'd like to acknowledge the receipt of the resignation of, sorry, I'm just pulling it up so I can read what it says. Acknowledge the resignation of Dwayne Jones from the Highway Department.
Mayor Lutz isn't here, but we'll have Lieutenant Arndt instead of Chief Bromer. Anything from the police?
I can say that we have 2 cadets that are graduating with police on the 22nd, so we're looking forward to their start date here. They will be in field training for about 3 months, and then they'll be on the streets. So December 22nd. New officers.
Nice. Moving right along, we have action items. Could I have a motion to authorize the bill payments?
So moved.
A motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Easy to authorize the bill payments. Are there any questions? Nothing? All right. Motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Geezy to authorize the bill payments. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, next, we have a motion to authorize payment number 2 in the amount of $111,641.51 to H&P Construction, Inc. for the Maple Park project.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilperson Stahl, and second by Councilperson Kaufman. Are there any questions? This one. Okay. Seeing nothing, I have the motion by Councilperson Stahl, second by Councilperson Kaufman to authorize payment number 2 in the amount of $111,641.51 to H&P Construction, Inc. for the Maple Park project. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Next, we have a motion to authorize staff to advertise the 2026 budget for public inspection.
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Fisher to authorize staff to advertise the 2026 budget for public inspection. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed?
I had a question on that.
Okay.
Is there's still a final approval after that
Yes.
for the budget and any further discussion or changes.
Well, if there's can be no changes. If there's changes at this point, we have to re-advertise.
Okay, so I was expecting a time for questions.
Oh, okay, go ahead, questions.
So, I mean, the vote already went through, but
Well, that's all right. Questions? I mean, I
the,
want to make sure everyone's good.
I wasn't able to be here for the final discussion time on the budget, but my main concern being the budget line for the increase for the fire department,
Mhm.
for the fire truck. My biggest concern in that regards is the state of our finances currently. It's not that I don't see the need, or I see and understand the communication that Jared has communicated in regards to where the fire department's at, their needs and concerns. I just am not seeing where the money's coming from. It's almost $500,000 of tax. And my biggest concern with incorporating it just off the bat here without doing further research and getting more information on it is that we're essentially signing up to take it on for the next however many years. And I would like to see a committee formed and for this to be added later at a later date and not with this current budget. Not that I don't have a good gut feeling on it. It's, not much keeps me up at night, but this has a little bit just because of the state of where we're at. We're already one of the highest millage rates in the county, and we're guaranteed to be raising our taxes again in the next year or two. I mean, for sure the next year, if we go down this path. And everything's going up, so it's not just this, but I think we've had some time to think about it, but it really feels like we're being pigeonholed into this is the only option. And I don't like that. I like multiple options. And I could be misunderstanding some of these things. So if there's anything that you want to add, Jared, to the conversation here and correct me, that's fine. But, a big problem that we have, I don't know if my mic's on. Maybe this isn't. A big problem that we have, mine is only a little bit, if I hold it. Big problem that was shared is the lack of volunteerism. And that, if we don't stay updated, if the company doesn't update apparatus and stay current and keep improving, that those numbers are even going to just get worse. And I believe that's a valid concern that like volunteerism is dropping. But I guess I'm not convinced yet that that new fire apparatus is going to change our volunteerism. The problem is a cultural shift that has happened, and it will could potentially keep the current volunteers and the previous generations happy with where things are going. For sure, it would improve morale. But my concern is, where do we go from there? Like, where are we with Gen Z? What's bringing out the next generation to volunteer for the fire department, for getting involved in emergency services? And it's a different game because the next generation just isn't the same as the previous generations. Like, we have to be honest that Gen Z is not impressed with trucks. I'm the tail end of the millennial generation. I am impressed with it, but it's just not the same culturally speaking. And there's been a shift in how many people in a household are working full time. There's been a shift in just the values that we hold as a community and what we get involved in. And so my concern is, are we looking at everything that's related to this? Because, one of the arguments that was brought up is that if we don't do something now, the fire department is going to end up being the borough's sole responsibility financially. And yeah, I mean, that's a big concern. However, I would say, as of today, with the state of our budget, if we had to decide all of the financial decisions or give approval to a borough run fire department, I would say we don't have the money to buy a new fire truck, a new ladder truck. I would say we have to look at other options. We have to look at what are used options coming from larger cities of several million people, where they have large fire companies, where they have used apparatus coming out of service because they're the ones who can afford the new apparatus. And I'm concerned about taking on years of debt for something that at the end of its life is going to be worth $100,000 to $250,000. And what do we? I mean, if you do the math, a $2 million truck at the end of its life will have paid. You divide that out according to its years, the depreciation factor. It's $100,000 a year, and I wish we could afford it. Like, I really do. But we're just not at the place. I would say, 5-10 years from now, when the McGinnis property is fully developed and our tax base has increased and it can handle the load of bringing in more tax income for what we have, but we are being inundated by just the basic costs of running a borough, like insurance, like personnel. I mean, we can't do what we do for nothing. And so I don't know. I wish we had more time to look into it, to put a committee on it, to look at all the options so that we aren't just walking in blindly with our hands tied, that this is the only option, this is what we need to do, and signing up for the next 10, 15 years, $200,000 a year. That's $500,000 of tax that we're going to increase. And really in perpetuity with the plan that's being presented, just in order to maintain and save up for future fire apparatus. And look, I'm not saying it's not needed. I hate bringing this up because I don't want to be an enemy to the fire department, because I have great appreciation and respect for the people, men and women, that volunteer, and for the community that's supporting. But I'm just concerned, and I'm not seeing any pushback. I'm not seeing any options being put out on the table. And I'd like to see us take that out of the budget until a later date in the next year, for the future council to evaluate it after having a committee look at every detail and every option. So I don't know if there's any other comments. I know we weren't scheduled to have a long conversation here, so I apologize.
I know you weren't there at the last meeting, and one thing I brought up, and I'll keep bringing up, is my biggest concern with not just fire. It's all. I know Heather brought up the whole picture, but the concept of mutual mutual coverage between boroughs. When, over half of our calls are not even in Columbia, I really think that, and I know the ambulance is involved, and we maybe have higher ambulance calls. I'm not sure. We have to look at it, but it just seems like, to me, it really, some solution here is going to have to come from state level. I really do, because it's not going to happen on the local level, because locals are not going to, West Hempfield, right, so whoever, they're not going to up their ante just to give us, $200,000 to help out with our fire apparatus. That's for sure. But that's a conversation needs to be had.
Who are we bordering? Who's our bordering communities? that
Manor
we're
Township
supporting?
has West Hempfield.
Manor, what's that film?
Manor Township?
Mhm.
Manheim Township?
West
Marietta,
Hempfield,
West
What about
Hempfield.
Mount Joy?
Marietta.
Marietta,
In York County, we go a lot of calls to York County.
Wrightsville.
That's what I heard. So
No,
Did you just hear?
I just heard that most of the calls are from York.
that's not true.
No,
That's what I was told at the meeting, the budget meeting.
no, there's
I'm just
a
curious
number
how
of
many
them that,
branches
that go to
supporting
York.
around us.
There's a higher
Are we
percentage,
really
we
doing
think.
that? What's that majority? Do others come and support us?
Yes,
Yes.
I see.
I don't think.
What's that?
I just wanted
Not to
to,
the level we do.
I wanted to comment that Jared and I had a conversation last week. We are in the process of forming a committee. So Jared took that back to his board. They're going to get back to me with some dates, and we're going to schedule a meeting or two in December.
And the purpose of that committee will be to how to fund funds to be able to support their desire to buy a truck, correct?
Well,
Is that the purpose of the committee?
I think there are many purposes for the committee, for us, council, the borough, to better understand this project as a whole, to see if there are any other options, to talk about the existing vehicle, all these issues that have been
Right.
brought up.
Okay.
Yes.
I agree with forming that council. And the reason why, we kind of brought it up a little bit about the fire truck, but we didn't go into much detail because someone said that there was going to be a committee formed. It kind of gave me some peace of mind about it. But why couldn't we, why can we not remove it from the budget and just have that committee established for next year and then have it be brought before us at a later date? That's my opinion.
That's what I would like to see, is that more concrete findings and research and options. What options are there for used apparatus coming out of Baltimore or somewhere? And, there's lots of cities across the country, but what could you get for $500,000?
Right.
I mean, look, I hear, I can feel the pain in bringing up the question, but if you don't ask the question, you don't know. And this council makes decisions based on what we know, and not, we need to make decisions based on real evidence and someone doing the research.
Right. And I don't really understand how, the budget and balancing and all that. But why couldn't we take reserves, and put it back in and kind of have that earmark that at a future date?
Well, if you want to earmark it, it has to be in the budget.
Okay. All right. But
Just
I'm
because it's in the budget
I'm
doesn't mean you have to
for-
spend it.
Yeah, and just because it's in the budget doesn't mean you have to spend it.
true. But I'm for removing it from the budget and focusing on.
Let's say the committee finds that the investment makes sense. Should that money already be in the budget in 2025 for it to be approved 26, or can it be removed now and then voted later as an additional expenditure? Probably best to have voted on in the budget now. Like Kelly said, you don't need to spend it.
Mhm.
Is that the, but I want to set the next council up for success, not for failure.
But if you.
Well, you can't add it
do
back.
that, and I'm just asking because I don't know the answer. If you do that, what you're suggesting, if we put the money in the budget, and then the research and everything else find that there's another way to go. If that money is in there earmarked for that, then can it be taken out at a later date and spent on something else? Or is it, we can use for that?
Or-
Sure.
I don't know enough about it.
Yeah.
It's in the budget, some money.
The budget is a plan.
Okay.
But not having it in the budget makes it more difficult
Much
for
more
them to
difficult.
execute on the original plan,
Mhm.
should they decide to go ahead and purchase the vehicle.
Can we only do that once a year, or
No.
can we do that, say, in February?
Yeah, I mean, the budget is a plan, and so if we don't have a line item for an expenditure and the money wants to be allocated, at that point, whenever it is, it would come to council to say, can we spend this money? If the line item is there in the if it's in the budget, there's no need for them to come for approval to allocate the funds. Frank,
Are we or are we not going to have another budget meeting?
we do not have one planned, no.
So do I understand at the next meeting, you will vote to pass this budget or not?
That is the,
We could advertise it in time, I think that.
if we can advertise it in time, the plan is to adopt it, is it December
December
9th? December 9th, which is
Okay.
the next voting meeting.
Yeah, I just wanted to make sure. I think the best thing I heard Peter say is, if you don't ask the question, you don't know. I like that, because a lot of times questions just never get asked.
Questions?
Thank you.
So, Jared,
I'm sure you saw these process.
I would just like to point out that this was presented to some of your members in June. I made a formal presentation in July. It comes into the budget in late October. And now at the 11th hour, we're going to take it out. The money, the increase, in my opinion, is purely that the borough is not supporting the department enough. And it just so happens that we have a large purchase coming up soon. I said at one of the past budget meetings, you can take it out of the budget and we can kick the can down the road. And the longer we wait, the more money that's due. The sooner we start paying, the more of a discount we get. The fire department is asking for a total of $300,000. That is less than $750,000. The police department gets 10 mils. I mean, and we support the police. We work well with the police. And I understand that insurance goes up, there's contractual agreements for pay raises and all those types of things. I get it. But I am trying to make council aware that we cannot continue at this rate. We can not purchase a new fire truck. We can push all of our membership into fundraising. And when those volunteers leave, then the borough, not only do they have to pay for a department, then they also need to buy a fire truck. Some of the volunteerism thing, I just want to paint a broad picture. There are guys out there that will come to run just because it's a tiller. I don't know how many will show up. I don't know how many will last, but it will happen because that's what fire guys do. if we weren't so saddled with fundraising, we could be doing more recruitment and retention. We've had discussions with the high school about, hey, can we come give a presentation to your juniors and seniors? You know, we're a group of, I would say, 80 committed people. And 20 years ago, that number was much larger. East Prospect Fire Company is closing at the end of the year. We're not there yet. But I'm trying to put us in a position where the borough is not saddled with that. The last time we talked a little bit about mergers and regionalization. There is one happening in West Hempfield and Mountville. There's a possibility that in a year or 2 years or 3 years, they say, hey, Columbia, why don't you guys regionalize with us? I personally don't believe that the fire department will have a whole lot of say, because it'll all come down to the township and the two boroughs deciding how all that goes and how all the money is split up. I understand it's a large ask in general. I understand that I'm asking for 180% increase. But I also do not understand how we appear to be the lesser priority when it comes budget time. That I'll never understand. We do have a committee. I did send Jack some dates. But I kind of feel like we've had these discussions. We've talked about this 45 minutes to an hour at meetings. I just don't know what more you need, what more you want.
Yeah, I hear that. I think, yeah, sorry, thank you. I think the place where I'm coming at from is that we don't really know what's in our budget, or we don't really know what we have the capacity to budget for until the 11th hour. Like, I mean, we're having these budget discussions. The state of our finances are just in rough shape unless we raise taxes. And so the problem is every 200,000 we add is another $500,000 that's gonna be in a tax raise. And so from the perspective, like, don't get me wrong, I'm not wanting at all for you guys to feel left out to dry. Like, I don't want that, but I also, from the aspect of how much do we know about this, it's been a few discussions, and honestly, every time I hear you speak, it's compelling. Like, it feels like a need. I am reassured because you're coming from a standpoint of ownership of the position where you're at, of carrying the weight of it, of the future of the department. And I appreciate that. I respect that. It's just from a financial standpoint, if you go through with this, it's not just support of where you guys are at from operations standpoint. It's the purchase and signing up for apparatus that's extremely expensive. And look, I mean, I can take your word for it, but I also, as a representative of the taxpayer of Columbia, have to ask, did we do all of our homework? Or did we just blindly follow? And so from our aspect, I'm bound to ask the questions and bound to do the research for the borough citizens of Columbia. And if we don't do that, and if we can't look back and say, well, we checked every box, we looked at every option, we are, there are no other shortcuts to moving forward and supporting our fire company and really supporting the future of the borough. I see the aspect of how valuable it is to the borough in order to have you guys running in tip-top shape. Like, I get that. I absolutely do. And the burden that would be on the taxpayer if that doesn't continue. I understand that. But I also have a responsibility to advocate that we do our due diligence and the stuff on the behind the scenes, the boring homework, so that we can look back. The future council won't be like in the dark through this, and that the decision is made in the light, with all the details on the table, with the committee doing the work, and then hopefully in the next couple of months with their findings proceed forward. I want you guys to be in a good place, but I hope that you also understand the difficult position we're in in terms of managing the finances of the taxpayer of Columbia.
The longevity of the department is dependent upon funding. Plain and simple. We can talk about volunteerism. We can talk about mutual aid. Funding is the only thing that will provide any longevity for the department. Without that funding, we will face some really steep financial challenges when things come due.
Thanks, Jared.
So, anyone else? I just want to say I was one of the ones that met with Jared back in, when did we meet, Kelly? Was that June?
Yeah, June.
June, back in June. And I understood at that meeting, and when he came into the council in July, that the additional money was partly, it just happened that the truck, but they need the funding. And we had decided at the first budget meeting that we wanted to put that additional funding onto the line that says apparatus fund. To me, it's splitting hairs because we knew from the beginning that they needed the funding, just what Jared said. And to sit here and say, we want a committee to look at all these options, how many of us are qualified to know what truck is this and that? And none of us are qualified for that. I don't think any of us are qualified to say, do the police need X, Y, or Z? Do we need this? We trust our professionals to tell us what they need. And
Thank you.
I look at this the same way. I'm trusting the fire department. They need the funding. We know they need the funding. We also know, because we were told 3 years in a row from the previous manager, that of all the boroughs in Lancaster County, we give the least per capita to our fire department. So at the one meeting, Jared said, he hears from other places the borough doesn't support the fire department. And you know what? We don't. We don't support the fire department. And that was, in my mind, the big thing of why does the fire department have to be last? They shouldn't be last. I mean, it's no different. I mean, you look at what's happening in all emergency services across the county. You know, next year we have up until this point gotten away with not paying anything for EMS. That's not going to be the case anymore. We're going to have to pay for EMS after this year. I mean, it's just the way it is. All municipalities are going that way. I mean, so I understand we don't have the money, but in the end, why does that expense have to come at, why does it have to come at the expense of the fire department when, in my mind, they're just as important as any of our other emergency services?
Is there anything else we can cut besides that? I mean, we went through that the other day.
We did. We absolutely did. So, I mean, that's,
I agree.
if we want to, we did have the vote to approve to advertise, but if we want to revoke that and pull 189 out of account 413, or not 413, 411, hang on, 411, and advertise it that way, we can do that. I will not vote to advertise it that way, though.
I think forming a committee and also having a council that is more than willing to find the funds wherever necessary. I know Mayor said that just the sale of one of our buildings would be enough money to buy the truck outward. So if we have a committee formed and a group of people on council who are willing to pull the funds and make it happen when we determine what the best route is to go, I don't think that's putting the fire department last.
But determining what's the best way to go in general or about a fire truck, because the reality is that $189 is to sustain the fire department. Whether or not that goes to a truck or not,
That wasn't my understanding up to this point. My understanding was it was for the truck.
I
So-
agree. I mean, the cost of the apparatus is the increased expense, but I wish we could support, like, I want them to not be the lowest priority in the budget. However, what's the purpose of the committee if it's decided it ahead of time anyways?
So
Like,
I asked to have the committee, not to figure out the fire truck's use or if there's a better piece of equipment or a different type of equipment out there to use. I asked to have the committee so that in the borough's interest, we find the best possible way to finance our obligation to them. And I'm not a finance person, so I can't tell you, but I do know that interest is high, and that if we do a 10-year term or 15-year term, whatever their arrangement is, we're going to spend more money than if we could just pay it off. So while we have a line item in the budget for whatever it is, the additional 189, that's just there as a placeholder. We may decide 6 months in that, hey, let's just pay this off now. It's better that way. It's better for the borough. It's better for the fire company. It's just better all around. Or we may say, you know what, there's just no way we can commit to that amount of money, and therefore we're just going to have to make monthly payments or annual payments, whatever it is. So my point is, the committee I asked for is more about financing and making sure that both the borough and the fire company can come to an agreement that it will work to benefit both of us. But we're subsequent, showing the Columbia Fire Department. Went to all of them.
all right, well,
I left out the Keystone Veggies, but
thought I was talking to my grandma there for a second.
But the Columbia Fire Department, they have their own destination. We do not control them. We can only support them. And we can say no. But I don't know what that's gonna do. So I'm in favor of leaving it in.
Why haven't we considered a fire? Can we do one? in
We,
the
we,
town?
we, we did, we have considered it. We have talked about it.
Then your taxpayers know where that money's going.
Exactly.
The budget shows you where the money's going.
Yeah, but if you're looking at a fire tax, you know it's going to your fire department. If it's $250,000.
And you can,
Other,
you can always turn back the fire tax as well, once the,
Mhm.
whatever that fire tax was earmarked
Right.
for, once that obligation is met, you can reverse
then
that.
you can reverse it back and lower it.
I pushed for that 2 years ago.
I will say, I was in that first meeting as well. And I want to thank Peter. You
No,
know,
I don't think you were in that meeting in June with us.
I was absolutely in the first meeting with you, me, and Kelly.
It was
Oh,
the three
were
of us.
you?
Yeah, it was the three of us.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I
it was the three of us.
was like, wait a minute, I don't remember that.
And I appreciate everything Jared had to share at that meeting. And I want to thank Peter. Peter, I think it was wisdom to bring that up. I think it's wisdom to consider everything that you are questioning. You're right. And I don't question Jared's professionalism, his expertise, and his ability to evaluate the needs of the department and to make reasonable suggestions at all. But I will say, in honesty, after that first meeting, I had trouble with the numbers. And this was the simple trouble that I had with the numbers. We have a ladder truck now. We're told it's nickel and diming the fire department to death. So we have to sell that apparatus to somebody else who can't afford a new one. So that less fortunate volunteer fire department is going to buy a used apparatus that is going to apparently cost them more than it would cost them to buy a new one, because having a used one that nickel and dimes you to death allows our fire department to not maintain that. It requires a new vehicle. That math doesn't add up to me. It never did. I think looking into it makes sense. What are the options? If volunteerism is down, why not invest in volunteerism? Here's one thing I do know. Yeah, the fire department does invest a lot of time, energy, and effort, hours, man hours, woman hours, in fundraising. Borough can't help with that. The only fundraising the borough can do is add another mill to the tax rate, which doesn't go over so well. Fundraising is something we cannot help you with unless we raise taxes. I am in favor of leaving the money in the budget as a line item for consideration for the next council to determine whether or not it's wisdom or not to buy new apparatus. I'm in favor of having a committee put together to see what does make the best sense. Is it a new apparatus? Is it keeping the one we have now? Is it buying a better used one? Is it investing in volunteerism? Is it a combination of all three? Who knows? I don't know. I'm not the expert. But I trust Jared and his expertise, but I know where he's coming from. I know he's a man who is considerate and will work together to get the job done. So I will be voting to keep it in the budget for the next council to determine what the wisest decision is. I don't think we should advertise it without, take it out and then advertise it, if that makes sense.
This is my problem with that, and tell me if I'm wrong, but didn't you say, Heather, that if it's in the budget, then if this committee decides, well, we're going to take this 189,000 and we're going to buy a truck with it because it's in the budget, it has to go. Is that correct?
It just means it's been allocated. It doesn't mean it has to go.
It doesn't mean it has to be
It does. So
Yeah,
it doesn't
right.
mean, so if they say that they want to take that 189 and spend it on a truck, they don't need our approval. They can just do it
Correct.
because it's in the budget.
Correct.
So that's just what I just said.
It's setting them up
So that's why
for
I,
success. They should decide to do that.
right, but we don't get to, but we decide on allowing them to make that decision by keeping it in the budget.
Yeah.
We
Make life
can't.
easier for them
We can't,
by the fire truck.
we can't say no at that point. If the committee determines.
They already signed the contract. They bought it. Yes. It's already done. It's how much does the borough input with it? They're 4 years away from being finished build, right? 4? So it's in the process.
I understand that.
So, but I'm saying, forming a committee to look at buying used trucks doesn't do any good. It's already bought. It's already ordered.
Okay,
Saying that,
how we're gonna pay for it.
It's
Saying-
ordered, but no money has been put down.
That's right.
Right, so
Oh.
is it a binding agreement or is it
it's not. I'm sure you can,
placeholding?
I'm sure you can pay it now.
It's a place.
It's more a placeholder. I'm sure there's money gonna cost you to get out of it. Yeah.
Why would the fire company order this without the borough's approval, knowing that you're going through the budget process, not knowing where you're at with this? So why would they order that without your approval?
The fire company doesn't need our approval. That's their own entity.
So if you decide you're not buying it, it's their baby. What do they do with it?
Right, you're right. You're 100% right.
You're right, Frank.
And if we back away and don't give them any money, they may survive, they may not. All I'm saying is, I think we should help and support them.
And let's figure out
That's-
how to do that.
Can we sell one of those properties?
Sure.
Not until the new one's delivered, right?
Not
No,
properties.
no.
Yeah, we
It's been
can.
on the-
It's been,
We are in the process
yeah.
of.
Yeah.
Properties?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said trucks.
So that also goes into your capital budget, not into your operating.
Right,
budget,
you know.
Where this money is coming
Yeah.
from.
There's
That's why
other
he,
projects that are slated for those monies anyway, like Ridge Avenue.
Well, we can always stop that stuff. We can always stop that.
but that's why Mayor was saying about moving the,
Money to,
to the capital, so that when we sell one of those buildings, we can just pay for the truck,
right.
just buy the truck outright.
If it's available.
If it's available.
Can we do that?
I don't believe so. You may be able to move the debt service. We kind of, I know that was discussed, but once that money goes into capital, as the sale of a capital asset, it needs to be used on capital projects, is my understanding.
Assets.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Where does the money come from that goes into the general fund?
well, taxes.
Taxes.
It's all tax.
Yeah.
So a truck is a capital asset.
Right.
Yes, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
It can be.
So could it be, does it have to be the borough's capital asset?
Well, that's the.
That's the
The
question.
difficulty in all of this is, right, the difference between them and the police department, obviously, is that they are their own. separate
Right, they're their own
nonprofit.
separate entity.
Yes. And so that, I don't know, Brian may be able to answer that more. Maybe your auditors can answer that question a little bit more, as far
Okay.
as whose capital asset it really is. But that is true. I wasn't thinking of it that way, so.
Mhm.
We're talking apples and oranges with this versus the police because those are leased.
Well, right, I know, but what I'm saying is, can we use our capital budget, our capital account, to purchase a capital asset for another organization? That's the question.
I do not.
But part of Jared's
We can't-
plan
we talked
was
about it.
to be able to create an ongoing fund
Yes.
that supports the next apparatus. And I
Yes.
understand his logic and his
Yep.
math and
Mhm.
the
Oh, yeah, I
long-term
do
game
too.
plan he
Yeah.
has in place. So us owning the asset, I don't know, would that set them up to not be able to continue that, build that momentum for the next apparatus purchase.
It probably would. Yes, Jared. Because that was the thing, was that
yes, that 189,000 is going into the operating budget, but that was counted as the payment for the truck, but it's all still the operating budget.
Okay, so first, to answer your question, I was asking for 300,000. That 300,000 would cover the 111 that you're currently giving us, and it would cover the purchase, the yearly payment for the ladder truck. In 2029, we will have our engine and engine rescue paid off. We're currently paying about 111,000 for that now. So that we would be able to put that 111,000 into invest every year. And then so that way we would build up a fund to where 2039 we'd have, over $1 million saved up for the next purchase of an engine and or engine rescue. So that additional 189, although as Heather said, we're kind of splitting hairs, the intention is to have the funds from the borough to pay off the ladder truck and to currently use the additional 111 as we are now. And then once we get the engine rescue paid off, then we can start bankrolling that and then invest.
And your intention is that this 300,000 would continue year after year from the borough.
Oh, in perpetuity. And I said it once and I'll say it again, and we will come back and ask for more money. I mean, right now, $300,000 is half of our operating budget. Once we start paying on the ladder truck, it'll be about a third of our operating budget. The remaining money is coming from donations, clubs, and fundraising.
We did this before, as in taking capital funds and purchasing purchasing apparatus for the fire department. We did that before. The fire police truck.
Fire police truck.
I just realized that. So we did do it before. That's what.
Again.
Well, the last
Again,
last budget meeting that I was able to either attend or view, the plan was to move it to the capital budget. It sounds like that is not how the budget is prepared now.
No, it is not, because if we do the 189, we can't do that right out of capital unless we're actually purchasing the capital, unless we're purchasing the item.
Right. It needs to stay in general until we make a decision after the
Right.
meeting, after you guys meet.
I would say, like, until there's enough in capital to purchase the whole thing, that could be difficult to
Right,
pull
and that's
off
why we-
that
No, yeah,
way.
we can't
That's what
do
we
it
talked about last
until,
meeting when you missed.
yeah, or until they're actually paying on the asset.
I would rather see, as a taxpayer, I would rather see a fire tax that I know this is going to support my fire department in terms of supporting the operation costs and whatever equipment, than to do from this side, to do a one-off where we just pull it out of capital. My problem with that is we don't have a steady stream into capital to replenish that.
Yep.
And so what are we going to do? Like, my whole point is, if we have to raise taxes, we need to state the obvious and not just kick it into another bucket and say, well, we got the money from that, because then our yes to this is a no to something else that the borough may need, just in a very, whatever situation that money's coming from. I would rather see it just out in the open, clear, here's our fire tax, that at a level that can support sustainably saving up for trucks and whatever operation costs are going to arise in the future. Then it's just there. It's a sustainable, every year is the same, slightly increasing, just like everything. We probably can't add a tax with a council that's a lame duck council leaving.
No, we can. You
Can we?
You can.
We have to advertise with tax ordinance.
We'd have to advertise an ordinance because taxes have to be, if the tax rate changes, it has to be done by ordinance as opposed to resolution.
I say advertise it with a line item in the budget and let the next council figure out how to manage it.
The only issue I have with that is how much do we have, the question is, how much do we have in reserves? If we don't do anything at the end of next year. And so then,
1.4 a couple months, like, that was like 2-3 months ago, 1.4.
1.4.
That was probably back in,
Yeah.
for November, September.
The budget's 1.2.
September.
So that would be 200,000.
300, yeah.
which next year is going to be the assessment. So you can only do a 10% raise. So if we don't do something this year, we're technically
No, we
putting
can do it next year.
next year's council in a bind.
27 is
27.
the reassessment.
Okay, yes. Next year's 26.
So in the capital fund, is there any reason why we can't? Like we have a revenue, sale of the firehouse, 2.5 million. Under an expenditure, put fire truck, 2.5 million. And if we sell the firehouse, we have it earmarked for it to buy the fire truck.
But there's projects that need done.
Well, I'm looking at that, like, didn't somebody say, why are all these things under the expenditures? Like Taser, parking software, Cody Cobra, in-car video server. Like, I thought I heard someone say, well, we're just balancing the budget here by putting all of these in. So
I
are
don't
there?
think anyone said that.
Oh, okay. So,
No, they are all the capital needs of the police department.
okay. So should we assess what is the greatest need? Or just not even consider this for capital?
I like to leave it general.
Leave it go?
At least for this year.
Can I just make a comment about taxes? I'm a taxpayer. I don't want my taxes to go up just like everybody else. And like I said before, maybe I'm a little biased, but I'd rather have a fire tax, even if it's an even swap, even if you give us $500,000 and you take half away from the regular tax. But I will say, as a homeowner, I don't know why are we delaying the inevitable? Like, why is there no tax? Why isn't, even if it's $0.25 like, I don't understand why. And I think it's easier to swallow. We're talking about, I think it's easier as a fire tax. I agree with that. I also think it's easier if we raise it $0.25, $0.5, just to have a little bit more coming in. And so it doesn't feel so bad when it's $1 mil or $2 mils. I mean, that's just my perspective as a taxpayer.
If we were to add a fire tax, do we have to do that separate or in combination with this budget?
It could be done in combination with this budget. I mean, you could literally leave the budget the same as it sits here today and say, we're going to, I mean, really, because the number that you have in there, the 423,000, that's about 1 mil. Am I correct in that?
Yes, it
Yeah. So you could say your general tax rate was being reduced to 9 mils, adding a 1 mil fire tax, and you'd essentially get to the same place here. And, that would be an option, but it would have to be done in some kind of conjunction. Because if you were to, for instance, put an additional 1 mil fire tax on your current millage rate, you would have to change your revenues in the budget that you've got in the packet tonight. So, yeah, but it could be, we could advertise it all together, but yeah.
But really, we'd still have to do
A new,
an ordinance.
you would still have to do it, yes.
And I don't think it's wise to vote to advertise an ordinance that none of us have seen. So we're looking at pushing off the authorization to advertise until the 9th and adopting on the 23rd. When do we have to let the county know? Did you get that did you get the letter from them? Every year we get the letter saying you have to let us know by such and such a day what your millage is, because if anything changes after that date, you have to pay for the reprint of the things.
I do not know what that date is.
Okay. Yeah, you might want to check with the tax collection bureau to find out when they need to know that, because they generally ask for a copy of our resolution or something like that once we've gotten it all down.
If our overall millage didn't change, like what if we just did a swap? It wouldn't affect the revenue,
Unfortunately,
or
because
be a separate fund.
Changing
because you're
allocation.
changing the allocation,
Uh-huh.
Yep.
that you'd have to
Okay,
do an ordinance.
makes sense.
Yep. Because every allocation of millage has to be spelled out. And the way our current ordinance is everything is for the general.
Okay, so Heather, we don't have to have another meeting then. If you decide to put a fire tax on, is that being taken care of here? Or where will that be taken care of?
If we
We'd have
decide to do a fire tax, we will have to vote on it at the next meeting.
At the 9th,
You have to advertise or authorize the advertising of the ordinance.
on the 9th.
Which is not on the agenda, and then hopefully adopt it at the tax meeting.
Okay,
I would not feel comfortable authorizing to advertise an ordinance that none of us have seen.
good.
I'm not
Agree.
comfortable with that.
Totally.
So just so I understand, as it is right now, without the fire tax, we do have a number that will be advertised. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay, so how long does that have to be advertised to the public to view?
So the
10
budget-
days.
The budget has to be advertised for 10 days. If you were to leave your tax rate the same as it was last year, we don't have to do an ordinance. You can just do a resolution, which doesn't have to be advertised. But a tax ordinance, if you were to change the tax rate, has to be advertised for 10 days as well.
Okay, and then again, the number that you have right now, if nothing's changed on that won't get changed like over in the office or,
No. Oh, absolutely not.
No.
Okay.
Cannot
thank
do
you,
that. Yep.
just so I understand.
Absolutely.
I mean, and in my mind, if we're going to go through all of the gymnastics to add a fire tax, to simply reduce the regular and put that into the fire tax, to me, that doesn't solve anything.
Yeah, I agree.
It's just,
Accountability then.
the only thing it does is define something, but
Right.
which I think would add a layer of security for the planning of the fire department's budgeting.
Mm-hmm.
And like Jared said, people know where their money is going.
I'll just say I appreciate the discussion tonight. I think that my concerns were answered. I believe that the due diligence for anything that's up in the air is going to be done, and I'm okay leaving the vote as it was. I'm not going to push or ask for that to be changed at this point. I think I'm definitely in favor of a fire tax designation, because I think it allows for some more clarity, both for the taxpayer and for the fire department. But if no one else here at this table wants to go through with that this year yet, I'll let the next year's budget, you guys can figure that one out.
Sorry, I don't mean to laugh. I advocated for that for two years ago, and we all sat here and said, no, we didn't want to do that. We didn't want to do that. And
Well, I think 2 years ago, we didn't want to raise taxes at all. And then
Well,
last-
right, I know, but
and
we
then
wanted
last-
to, we wanted to put it, you know,
last
so that
year
it was.
Kind of broke the dam, but I would just like to say, in 4 years of being involved in budget meetings, this has been the most intense year. And I think it really shows that a lot of discussion, a lot of input from the public has gone into this. And I just, because of all of that, I really feel confident that we're coming up with a good decision.
All right. Any final thoughts on the budget? Should we revote?
What are we
Unless
voting
someone
for?
makes a motion, no.
Okay. Nothing? All right. All right, moving on. Could I have a motion to authorize staff to advertise the position of highway maintenance worker 2?
So moved.
Second.
The motion by councilperson.
Is it one?
No.
Two?
Stahl, second by councilperson Fisher. The reason I changed it to 2 is because I was informed right before the meeting that the title is actually highway maintenance worker 2, not highway maintenance worker 1. So, yes, we do things in opposite.
Wait,
We do it opposite here.
I'm not talking about
Oh,
that. I think that the budget question, the budget motion, you got a motion, a second,
yeah,
then you
we
said
didn't say.
everybody in favor, and then Peter said, wait a second, I have
sorry.
a question. I don't think we
There wasn't.
actually.
No, everyone said, gave their eyes.
Yeah.
right.
I
And then
asked
Peter
after
said,
that.
whoa.
All
Yeah.
right, okay.
Mhm.
Sorry, I didn't mean to.
Oh, okay.
What?
No.
What?
Nothing. I'm just,
I'm backwards.
all right. So are there any questions, comments, concerns on this one? I have a motion by councilperson Stahl, second by councilperson Fisher to authorize staff to advertise the position of highway maintenance worker 2. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? Next, could I have a motion to direct the creation of a sealed bid packet or a public auction for the disposition of the McGinnis property? If you make the motion, I would like to know which one you're motioning for.
Should this go to executive session?
It can't.
It can't? Why
No.
can't
Second. Is that your motion done?
it? Your motion sealed?
Motion sealed bid.
A second.
All right, I have a motion by councilperson Burgard, second by councilperson Murphy to direct staff to create a sealed bid packet for the disposition of the McGinnis property. Hang on, Frank. Discussion.
When you say sealed bid, is this through EDC?
They would help,
It would help.
They would
Create
help
the
track
packet.
Sealed bid.
yeah, they
packet.
would, and they
Yes.
would help track
Yes.
the people, the responses coming in.
But they're going to require a fee,
A fee.
percentage,
For doing that work.
a payday.
They likely will,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes.
They will,
Yes.
Yeah.
So we're voting on this option. That
I mean, we can do the sealed bid without them. We can do it ourselves.
That's what I'm saying. I think that has to be clear.
I mean, in my mind, this is to get the packet together, whether or not the EDC helps us evaluate things is
Yeah,
beside the
another
point.
step, yeah.
You know, that's a separate item.
Oh,
But
I
if
would agree.
we're going to do a sealed bid, we need to get on the ball and get it moving. We can't, and that's why I put it on here, because we've got to make a decision. And if we're along with that, if we're saying we want to evaluate the bids ourselves, then that's fine.
So we'd have to put it in the package. Yeah.
The bids come to us and
I'd like to see, I really appreciated having Rick Brenneman here. I think he has a very, he has a good outlook on the climate. I mean, he's not like a marketing guy or a developer, but he can kind of do a sniff test on whether, I would like to see him evaluate what we come up with, whether Evan writes up the bid packet, and then could we write it, have it reviewed, and then contract the EDC to promote it to their contacts, or do they want to be involved in the, or bring them in for approval and comments?
I mean, the last discussion that I had with them, and I think that we had, was that, they would help in the drafting of the sealed bid packet, because of their expertise and what they're looking for. I'm not saying that has to happen. That's kind of what we had talked about. I think certainly we want them as a partner to, promote it to the people that they know that are looking for property like this. I mean, I think that was part of the advantage of having them throughout this whole I mean, they've been obviously doing this for the last 4.5 years or so since we purchased this property. So I think that's, and I don't know what kind of expectation they have as far as what they're looking to get out of it. I think there was probably an expectation that, the percentage of the purchase price is something that they were looking for. I'll leave that up to you guys, but I think that's kind of been what they have, seen throughout this. But I can't,
Right.
I'm not gonna comment on that because I can't speak for them. But
right. I mean, the last thing that they submitted with the a draft agreement, I forget, there was a monthly amount.
It was 2,000, I believe, up to $2,000 a month, and then
Yes.
yeah,
And a percentage of sales.
yes.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is, before you say you want to do a sealed bid package, we need to know what those costs are. Because if those costs come back and are so great, we may not want to go that route. So why would you vote on something you don't even know what it's going to be yet? I mean, if you want to say seal bid with EDC and it's going to cost this much, seal bid on our own, and then a live auction, that's our options basically. But outside of that, to say seal bid or live auction, that's kind of misleading.
I think we could estimate what it would cost. Clear, like if
Based
we
on
would
other
put
projects.
a timeline on it. So let's say contract the EDC to draft the sealed bid packet in 90 days. So 3 months, that's $2,000 a month if that's what it was. And then there we have $6,000 to create it, plus a 1%
No, the
fee.
a 2,000 runs.
Yeah, but he's saying it would be 6,000 for the 3 months. Now, if it goes
That
further
the-
than that,
Yeah, that
yeah,
the-
Oh,
for
so
every
they're
month,
saying they
but,
want 2,000.
but
just
roughly
for
then
that.
it would say it would be around 6,000 for the.
Well, it was an hourly
Interesting.
figure, but maybe it was
Yeah.
It was an
not to
hourly
exceed.
figure
Hourly. Up to
$2,000.
right. That was the maximum.
But that's just for drafting the.
It's
No, that's for anything.
As long as
It's for drafting it and supporting the process and everything else. So
Right.
if we tell
Meetings.
them we only want them through drafting the thing,
Right, that's where all these options come in. You start out with, let's make a sealed bid to, we could have 12 months at $4,000 or $2,000. So, and then you get on top of that, you have 1%.
Well, we still have to come back and approve any sealed bid, whether we did it ourselves or had somebody do it.
Mhm.
I don't think we're just going to trust them to say,
Well,
oh, well, it's, you
no,
gotta bring it back to council.
the contract they would want to see a signed contract ahead of time.
Right,
that-
they
For
do.
their service.
For the 1% and for the hourly rate.
Yep.
Right.
So that's ahead of time. Like, there's no going back on it after that.
Same argument that can be made for an auction. What's an
Same
auction?
thing.
Here's
Same thing.
10.
They're not gonna do it for free.
I would say the commission would likely. be
Yeah, but
higher
hold on a
than
second.
the 1%.
You're right there, but there's gonna be commission whether we sell it or not. Okay? If the EDC sells it, there's gonna be a salesman commission on it. There's gonna be a buyer's commission on it. Okay? Minimum 6%, plus 1% to the EDC, plus the fees it's gonna take.
No,
No.
no, not,
Uh,
if you would contract with a realtor, it would be 6%.
Yeah,
6%.
That's 3 and 3, 6%.
yeah, but not necessarily, and if just as an example, if a developer ends up putting in a sealed bid or at an auction decides to buy the property, you're not likely going to pay a commission for their.
Realtor.
for
Their realtor.
Yeah.
There's no broker fee if we do a sealed bid through the,
Right.
Through there.
EDC.
Yeah.
They're technically acting as a marketing.
Right.
Okay. I'm just saying, I think we should have some rough, at least rough numbers.
I mean, if we want to do a sealed bid and we want the EDC's help with it, then we have to get the contract before we can start thinking about the sealed bid packet.
I would think they should be able to get that to us by the end of the year or no later than early January.
Well, they've
kinda-
already
they
given
kinda-
us,
Right, they
they've
know our
already
interest.
given us the proposal of the agreement.
But if you want something,
Right.
I think if we just come up with a cost estimate, I think that's wise. Just, if we just figure like a year, a cost estimate for them working on it for a year is a good starting point, and then obviously reevaluate after a year.
All right. Can you get with John B. Miller and? All right, well, I have a motion by Councilperson Burgard and a second by Councilperson Murphy.
Could I just ask, sorry, but we already have the draft from them.
Yep.
So do we need to vote on it before it's final, or?
Yeah, we need to
Yeah, we
vote
need to
on the
vote on it.
contract.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm just saying,
because we don't have it to look at.
or Chief, did you get the draft?
I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just
So
thought
there's probably some other.
maybe we have what we need
Yeah, I mean.
and don't
we-
need,
I
like,
haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, but I don't know how long they think it's gonna take and to get a good estimate.
Okay.
So. All right, so I have motion by Councilperson Burgard, a second by Councilperson Murphy to direct staff to direct the creation of a sealed bid packet for the disposition of the McGinnis property. All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? No.
No.
How many yeses were there?
1,
5. You and I did, but
3.
You want to just do a roll call?
Yeah, let's do a roll call.
Councilperson Easy,
Yes.
Councilperson Murphy,
Yes.
Councilperson Burgard. I'm sorry.
Yes.
Councilperson Kaufman,
no.
Councilperson Stahl,
yes.
Councilperson Fisher,
Yes.
Councilperson President Singh,
No.
and it's 2 noes and 5 yes.
I voted no because I thought we were going to wait for an estimate on costs. So.
Now we're committed.
Wait.
So Evan,
I know the vote already happened, but I thought the way that you spelled that out, that we were voting to come up with an estimate.
no, we were voting on creating a sealed bid packet
Based on the estimate.
Did everyone here vote?
Based on yes.
Because
Based on
that
just
was
passing
the-
it
that
through?
was that was the motion.
We don't have the estimate yet, so. You may, we don't.
No, we don't have the estimate, and that's why I voted no,
I don't have a
because
cost
we don't
estimate.
have enough
All we have
information
is-
to.
yeah.
We don't have enough.
Okay, so
Either one.
in that case, if everybody was kind of mistaken, to make the record as clear as possible, I would suggest a motion to rescind that motion. And then
Could I have a motion to rescind the previous motion of directing the creation of the sealed bid packet?
Second.
All right, I have a motion by Councilperson Geezy and a second by Councilperson Stahl to rescind the motion to direct staff to create a sealed bid packet. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. Would anybody like to make a motion to direct staff to obtain an estimate
Yes.
of services for creation of a sealed bid packet from the Lancaster EDC?
Second.
All right, I have a motion by
what I
Councilperson
said we're doing.
Brigard, second by Councilperson Murphy to authorize staff to get an estimate for services for the creation of a sealed bid packet with the Lancaster EDC for the disposition of McGinnis property. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, we're good. Oh, my goodness.
Well, without seeing, I just assumed that's what we were talking about because none of us have seen it.
All right. Next, we're asked to, could I have a motion to authorize contract change order number 2 in the amount of $25,725 and application for payment number 6 in the amount of $339,605.76 to Iron Eagle Excavating for the McGinnis Innovation Park project?
So moved.
Second.
Motion by Councilperson Stahl and a second by Councilperson Kaufman. Are there any questions? Yes, Frank.
Was that 25,000 increased?
Yes.
Why?
The information is in the packet. There was some changes to laying down the bank further on at the east end of the runway, which is behind Franklin Street.
Franklin Street.
Laying that down to create so that it wasn't as steep, and also moving some of the fill over onto the 9th Street where the house was, the farmhouse. Sorry, I'm
It was
really
to level off
Level
that area, so it would be prepped if a street would end up
right.
coming in from that.
Yeah.
Why did that approval not go through council? That changed.
That's what we're doing
No,
now.
You're talking about the money that you're paying for that, but apparently it was already done.
So
And now they put a
Derek
charge on it.
one of the problems was there was actually more fill to deal with than estimated, because originally there was an estimated amount of fill that was going to be off-site, taken off-site due to deleterious materials, which didn't happen. Hey, I remembered that word.
I know, I like that word. That's a fun word to say.
And they really haven't found any of that, and so there's extra fill that needed to be dealt with and hauled to another location. So that's where Derek recommended that the site be leveled up to where the street level needs to be on that end of the property.
Yeah, I
The
still,
Bank, I wasn't aware of.
but I'm just thinking, all that has to go through council to approve that before you spend the money.
Yep.
That's what I'm asking.
And Derek did talk about it as far as that, and also at the, what street is that again, Heather? Because I know Mary Wickenheimer
Yeah,
was here.
well-
There was extra
So
runoff.
this was a
back there.
cause
There
of
was
that.
excessive runoff back there. that they
But
wanted-
Frank, on any of these
Yeah, there's always-
projects that we do, there always is things that come up that need dealt with right away. And we trust our engineer to say if they're necessary, not necessary, what needs to happen. And I mean, how every project we do, just about, we come in here and approve a change order when the decision was already made that it needed to happen in the project.
Yeah, my theory is it's council is running the borough, and when money's being spent, they should take initiative and say, yes, do that. And that's the only thing I'm asking.
Well, I mean, and that's what we're doing here. It's just in order to keep projects moving and to keep things flowing, you can't always just stop and wait for the next council meeting, like 2 weeks later. That would have,
Especially in construction.
Well, and
Yeah.
in this project, it's known that there's a potential for increase in budget.
right.
This originally, the bid packet came in far under what we were budgeting. Not far, but they came in under. And so
Mhm.
for there to be a $25,000 increase at this point it's still less than what we would thought
Right.
at the engineering side.
Are there any other questions on this? Yeah, they're on that east side, that bank is extremely steep. And so they're trying to lay it down a little bit to make
Smooth.
to make the slope not as steep. And it will also, it improves the look and some other things. So
And the 339,605.76 includes the 25,725.
I don't think so, no.
So that's in addition to the 339,605.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. All right. Are there any other questions, comments, or concerns? All right. I have a motion by Councilperson Stahl, second by Councilperson Kaufman to authorize contract change order number 2 in the amount of $25,725 and application for payment number 6 in the amount of $339,605.76 to Iron Eagle Excavating for the McGinnis Innovation Park project. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? All right. New business. We have a list of AR aging write-off recommendations from the finance manager. These are all items that are extremely old, that in finance's opinion are, not able to be, or not, where the likelihood of us collecting on them is very slim. Is there anything I should add here, Brian?
No, there's some taxes or some fees that were associated with fees that are no longer on the books, like home sale fees.
Inspection fees.
Inspection.
So those are listed on there. From the market house, those vendors are no longer there.
Yes.
We all see that the motorcycle shop is leaving. My understanding, they had a debt for when the curb, sidewalk and everything was put in.
That's been paid.
It's been
That
paid.
was paid last
Take
year.
care of that then. Thank you.
I have a question. The Nation Star acquisition, $660 from August of 2022 property cleanup. Can we lien that?
Well, you cannot.
Because it has been resold. And for the market house, these are all these are all rents that were due that were not paid, I'm assuming, correct?
And all those.
Or partials.
renovations are no longer-
Right, I'm just asking, what, like some of these are like, one has like 10 or 12 of them there. It's just, we just have to do we need, I'm sure Bonnie's working on, but we need to have something put into place that, like, so you don't have somebody like this Churro Master one that literally went on for months, paying a partial or not paying at all and still be allowed to be in there. I mean, no one wants to lose a stand, but everybody else is paying their rents too. So.
I think that Inna's pierogi shop, I think it was only there for 2 months.
2 months, I know.
And they didn't pay at all.
Anything.
Yeah, I mean, we have to,
That's $600, you know what I mean?
yeah, we have to
I'm
make
sure they had
sure
some
that,
sales.
we have to really look at our lease and make sure that,
Yeah, and this was a review with Bonnie from the market
Yeah.
house as well as
Yeah.
Paula for code zoning.
I meant to say, if they miss, and going forward, if they miss 2 in a row, you're not open in the third week until you pay what you owe.
The contract
Can't
says
just
what?
keep going on.
Bonnie, contract is 2 missed months, they're out.
You get security deposit,
3, so 3 months they're out.
you get security deposits.
No security deposit, Bonnie. Is there a security deposit?
Can you get one though in there?
Can I just say that right now, everybody is paid out.
Yeah, we know.
That
These are
over-
no
but everybody is 100% paid, so these are all
Yeah.
things that I'm not sure.
no, we know that. We're just trying to think, of ways to prevent this from happening.
You pay the manager, that's how you.
Well, we were paying a manager then.
We were paying a
too.
manager for these too, but it wasn't you, I get it.
We did have a discussion, actually a good meeting. Evan was there last week as well. I think you're doing a review of some of the contracts. Bonnie understands and is committed to ensuring that this doesn't happen again.
That's all I'm saying. We didn't want to come back next year and forgive another 2,300 and next year,
Yeah.
another 2,300.
No, we will stay on top of
That
it.
adds up.
Yeah.
Yes.
No, and in addition to that, I put together 2 documents, an accounts receivable collection policy, as well as an accounts receivable policy. Solicitor Gable's looking at it from a legal perspective right now. So yes, the goal is that we won't be in this situation. next
Good.
You're right.
As far as these go, I know it's not on this list, but I know there are some liens, property liens that are out there that are really, really old. I would ask that maybe if you and Paula could get together and look at some of them and say which ones are really, I mean, I realize you can lien the property, but for instance, I know there's a property Dicely owned back in 2007 because he was running the same election I was way back then. And he had a fire, he was killed. Well, they never rebuilt the property. So how in the heck are you they're not gonna build on that again. It was in a really tight alleyway. So how are you ever gonna collect that? That's those are the kind of things we have to look at.
And I can tell you that when we collected the liens from the Cycle Den, those
Yeah.
2 properties there, that was in the neighborhood of 75%
Oh, yeah.
of all
I'm sure.
the total amount of
Total
liens
amount.
that you guys had outstanding.
Yeah.
So I could certainly
Yeah.
take a look at that and see which ones we think.
Yeah,
are-
we get the lien report quarterly, so.
Yeah.
I mean, and honestly, we're at the point
Well, if
where
that's going,
a
it's gonna be
number of
huge.
them are gonna be
Yeah.
rolled off
Unless you're
anyway.
gonna- Yeah, unless you're gonna go execute against
Yeah.
$300 lien from 20 years
No.
ago,
It's not worth
you're
it.
not really gonna collect it.
Right.
Yeah, what-
Yeah, we just do
Evan,
the
was there
write-off,
interest
we
for
don't have to carry
that?
it.
There is, yes.
They
but-
paid interest, okay.
but yes, but on a lien that, and I can tell you on the ones against the cycle den, it was sizable because of how much the original amount was. A lot of your liens are, I'm not kidding you, between $100
Yeah,
and $300. They are very, very small. And so even with that interest, it really doesn't add up to a whole lot. And to take a property to sheriff's sale is upfront about $3,000. So the borough
Yeah.
has to shell that out, and it's probably not worth it, honestly, to lose the interest that you'd be gaining in your bank accounts to do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what I got up here originally for Heather is what he is considering doing, you're considering doing this, exonerating certain fees. Do you have a separate thing than what was in the packet? I really didn't get to look at the packet. But do you know how much this is and who these people are?
Mhm.
You have all that.
It's in there.
So do you have a total what that come to?
It's right up on the sky. It's hard to read.
Yeah, $5,208.75.
5,200. Am I correct that in the market house alone, there's over $50,000 that's owed?
No,
How much is owed in the market house?
2,300.
It's up there.
yeah, $2,305.15.
I'm sorry.
2,305.
$2,305.15.
Okay, I
This
wasn't,
is all stuff from 2024.
okay. What about further back? Is that total?
That's all there
That's all
is.
there
Okay. Yeah, I was probably sleeping when that come up at the budget meeting. Thank you.
All right, does anyone have any other questions on this?
My concern is we'll take the market house first. If you say the market house, we're just gonna wipe it clean. What prevents those vendors from coming back?
Just because you are writing off the debts doesn't mean that you are forgetting that these people exist.
Not clearing the name.
Yeah,
But who remembers? I'm not being smart.
yeah, I understand, absolutely,
there's
yeah.
no-
I think record keeping has to be,
Mhm.
yeah.
And then, the same as real
Real
estate.
copy of this page. and keep it
Mhm.
in file.
Any other,
The only other question I have is there, this to me is confusing. It's not confusing. Obviously, I can read it. But is there another report, like a past due report we can generate instead of this aging report? Because this aging report basically has every revenue source in here. If they're not past due, it still shows up.
And there's some listed on there that are from 2018 that show on that aging report as
Mhm.
not due.
and
Why is
they,
that?
well, they show as not due because when they were entered into the system, they were not given a due date.
So you're saying everything on here is past?
Everything on here is, yes.
Oh,
Past 3
This is-
years.
We're trying to clean
Where's
it
that
up.
page at? I didn't
Past
see
3
that.
years, you can't collect that.
Page 116.
Yeah, what's on the screen right
You're
now is
looking
a
at the
subset
finance
of the
report.
aging
Yeah,
report.
Yeah,
If I go down, it goes down past.
Almost down to
yeah,
the
it's
very
way
end.
down, way down.
Almost at the end.
To Eric's point, can we put these, is there a separate category that we can have for uncollected debts that we're just choosing to no longer send mail and waste time on, but it's still accounts receivable? Or can we just leave it as it is? Is it a problem to leave these on the books?
It's not, I mean, but
They're not collectible.
they're not collectible. I mean, we're not gonna collect them.
I mean, I get the point of keeping, the names of the,
Mhm.
not on the code side, but at least on the market side. Something as simple as putting this sheet out. If it happened, if it
Mhm.
happened in the past, have that sheet and say, okay, this is the name.
Yeah.
Uniform.
Look, as a newer management team, we're hoping to clean the slate,
Mhm.
and then we will focus on this moving forward.
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, if the thought is they're going to periodically send out the bills to everyone that is delinquent, and they're going to keep sending those out, I would rather only pay the postage for ones that we know are gonna.
Makes sense.
Mhm. Any other thoughts, questions, concerns?
So like down in the codes and zoning, um, the fourth one down is a rental inspection due from 11/12/19. I don't know if they're landlords in Columbia anymore or not, but do they get a license if they are? A permit? The past due 3 years. 5 years, 6 years, 7 years. 6 years.
Are they still a landlord or not?
That's what I'm saying. I don't know.
Right.
Yeah, that's, I
Or
understand what you're asking.
Mm-hmm.
are they invited back into the borough to be landlords down the road?
Owing that money, right?
I'm not saying it has to be on this report, but we have to find some way that
Yeah.
we control that. I mean, I understand the home inspection, that makes sense, because
Mm-hmm.
as a council, as a group, we decided we're not going to go after that fee anymore.
But the
do
rental
that.
ones.
Mhm.
It's voluntary. So that makes sense to a degree.
But
But the rental inspections, that's a business,
Yep.
and
There's only two of them on there.
That specific one is, she is no longer,
she dead?
I don't know about that.
Well, then she is still longer.
She's not in the borough,
As of today, she's not.
correct? Which means
But if we
she has
write-
no other property.
Right, but if we write this off and next month she
buys
comes in
one.
and buys one,
She shouldn't get a ticket till that's paid, but we won't
Right.
know that's paid anymore.
I agree. I would
But-
keep them on there. I'd also keep the fire inspections on there.
Yeah, that's required.
Seven years ago. Those like almost 7 years.
Oh, yeah, it's 7 years.
Man, that don't make no sense to me.
How often do we do fire inspections?
Every two.
2 years.
From a business standpoint, like if you get to the end of your fiscal year and you have uncollectible debts, it's just something you write off for tax purposes and move on.
Mm-hmm.
In this case, they're trying to clean up the books. So can we put a like a separate list of like
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I would keep a
uncollectible?
file.
That's
but-
all I'm asking.
I keep a
for.
file, but I wouldn't.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm just saying.
I wouldn't keep carrying them though.
That if a landlord comes back into the borough or
Mhm.
has property in the borough,
Mhm.
they should not be allowed to receive any sort of certification until their past dues are paid.
And the same thing with any farm, any market stand too, same thing. I think you just keep a list of that.
Right.
But yeah, clean the books, I don't care.
Yeah.
The Nation Star one on there for 660, that is a remediation on Locust Street. Typically, what happens when a property sells, they do a tax cert, and at the tax cert time is when we collected any fees like that that are,
Right.
so I'm not quite sure how that did not
Cash deal.
get collected.
Exactly. Cash.
Yeah, if they didn't go through title insurance, they
Yep.
didn't request a tax
Then it
cert.
goes to tax.
That's how a lot of ours happen.
Absolutely.
That's how all those liens how those liens happen.
Yeah,
It's
absolutely.
amazing to me. I've never seen it quite like this here. It happens sometimes, but there are there are a large number of your liens that are still outstanding that someone 2 to 3, sometimes 4 owners ago, that's who the lien is against.
Mhm.
And the people you send a letter to, they're like, we had no idea that this lien existed. It's
Yep.
because it's been transferred without
Yes,
anybody
sure.
getting title insurance several times. It's, yeah, it's surprising is what I'll say.
It's scary,
Yeah.
it's especially in this day and age where title theft is.
Oh, yeah.
So,
That's what you have to wonder when you're the person getting nailed for it.
Mhm.
Well, that was 4 owners ago. Yeah.
All right. Any questions? I- All right. Does anyone want to make a motion to approve the write-offs
I'll make it.
in a second?
Second.
A motion by Councilperson Murphy, second by Councilperson Stahl to approve the AR aging write-off recommendations. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? All right, staff reports, comments, and announcements. Solicitor Gable.
I don't have anything additional this evening.
Borough engineer is not here. Secretary treasurer.
Yes, I have a letter from Mary Wickenheiser, Secretary of River Park Advisory Committee, to Borough Council. I'm going to read 2 brief paragraphs, if I may. This is to advise that the River Park Advisory Committee will be going into hiatus effective December 31st, 2025. This group has been working for 22 years on the revitalization and expansion of the Columbia Borough River Park. She goes on to list their many accomplishments. Towards the bottom of the letter, we as a group are at a standstill. In 2025, we have met only once and our numbers have decreased. I would request that any actions regarding the current river park be referred to the borough's Park and Recreation Committee. Should the time come that work could begin on phase 3 plan, council should put the call out for the group to reorganize. Thank you to this and past borough councils for supporting the work of this group and the development of Columbia's River Park from Columbia riverfront properties. That's all.
All right. Boards, commissions, and committees, upcoming meetings. Civil Service meets on December 9th. In your packet, you have approved minutes from Parks and Rec from October, Planning Commission workshop from July 22nd, Planning Commission from October 21st, and LASSA from October 23rd. Borough Council comments, Councilperson Stahl.
Yeah, I'd just like to publicly say to Jared and to anyone in the fire department listening tonight, my respect and hats off to you. I appreciate your leadership, Jared, and your ability to stand to questioning. And I apologize for the stress that I might have added to this conversation tonight. And yeah, just appreciate and wish you the best moving forward as a fire department and as a community. Thank you.
Councilperson Murphy.
No additional comments this time. Thank you.
No comment.
I just want to announce this actually might be of some interest to residents. There is right now South Central Transit Authority, SCTA, has posted a project they've been working on for microtransit service. They have the microtransit service plan out on their website for anyone to look at and take a look at and make comments on. Basically, it's sort of like the way they're envisioning it, it's like Uber, but public transit. So if you're interested, if you use public transit or you're just interested in in seeing what they're working for. They've been working on this plan for like 2 years. So we keep hearing about it at MPO, and it's finally out there. Look at SCTA website, look up microtransit, and you'll see it on there. It's pretty exciting. And like I said, you can provide any feedback because they are looking for feedback before they move on to the next phase. All right.
This Saturday is Small Business Saturday, and the borough will be opened up. Parks and Recs will do a craft fair for kids, and the market house will be open as well. Anything else?
Trolley will be running from house too.
Yes.
Yes, police department staff, public works staff, and the codes department staff will be here, available to the public to discuss projects, any questions that the public may have.
What time are they opening up here?
9 o'clock.
9?
Right.
I'm gonna come in for a little bit.
Yeah.
I always like coming in for a little bit.
Good food. Good food.
Oh, are we having food?
Oh, now.
Are we having snacks?
Eric, Heather's gonna bring the donuts and coffee.
Oh, okay. Oh, I'm bringing donuts and coffee. Dang it. How didn't anyone tell me? All right. Announcement of the next meeting. We are going to cancel the December workshop. So at 7 p.m. on December 9th, council will hold a regular meeting. Could I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I have a motion by Councilperson Kaufman, second by Councilperson Geezy to adjourn at 9:11 p.m. All in favor? Aye. Anyone opposed? We're adjourned.
Signing all the checks, so we don't need to.
I thought Joanne